Hello, our dear listeners, and welcome to the webinar Dedicated Testing Team Quick and Efficient Start Possible, hosted by QATestLab. Thanks for joining us today. QATestLab continues a series of live webinars dedicated to QA and testing. We are talking about specifics of software testing, QA team management, test approaches and tools. We analyze strictly cases on real projects. Besides, we will tell at what stage of software development testing should be implemented and how to select a proper providers of QA services to build long-term business relations. We will try to prepare the most helpful and interesting topics for you to understand nuances of software testing and avoid any pitfalls. If you have any suggestions about the webinar topic, please write to marketing@QATestLab.com. Today I will be your speaker. My name is Ivana Kirik and I am a program manager in QATestLab. In current market conditions, a quick project start plays a critical role in ensuring a product success and company growth. But fortunately, to start a project means to take risks and face various difficulties, especially when you cooperate with a dedicated QA team to create a product of high quality. But how to ensure a quick and effective start of independent testing? How long will the start take? Can dedicated QA teams adjust themselves to the project needs? Today we will find together the answers and learn how to ensure a flawless cooperating with a dedicated QA team. It may sound too simple, but a project start will be fast and effective only if you make a strong decision to include a dedicated QA team into the project. You should clearly realize the specifics of the remote collaboration and both its advantages and disadvantages. Planning and analysis are an invaluable part of productive collaboration. So, when do we need a dedicated QA team? First of all, it's when a development procedure expects the expected time frames, but the release date is fixed. With dedicated QA team, development and testing can be performed simultaneously. Or if a QA provider is located in another time zone, the processes can be non-stop without breaks for sleep. You assign tasks and go to bed, while testing team performing checking activities. Then in the morning you already have the test results. Next, you need a dedicated QA team when an internal QA team provides poor testing results. For example, because of limited time, resources, or testing means. It's impossible to ensure system compatibility if a product was checked only on 2 or 3 mobile devices or in a number of emulators or simulators. The results may not reflect a real system behavior. Next case, you need a dedicated team when quality verification was conducted by developers or testing stage was omitted at all. It's very risky and a development team will not check the product from the end user's perspective. Neglecting a proper testing can cause product failure at the market, thus companies fail. To avoid such a situation, dedicated QA team provides a helpful solution to have system verified fast and properly. Next situation, it's you need a dedicated team when several development processes are conducted in a parallel and the internal QA team is not able to cover all of them. In this case, to meet the deadline and to provide resultative testing, a dedicated team is a really effective solution. Also, dedicated QA team is suitable for an objective quality assessment or when you already have a product tested but want to double check it by external team. QA specialists who were not involved in development procedure can provide a fresh view on software quality. If you have faced on the mentioned situation and decide to collaborate with a dedicated QA team, then you should make some preparation to ensure productive collaboration. In general, the cooperation with a dedicated team includes several steps. There, first of all, it's planning of workflow, including specification of project needs and available resources. Searching for vendors that provide the services of independent testing and selection of several potential ones. Next step is preparation of testing assignment to avoid vendors' competence and skills. Selection of a vendor and that fully satisfies your requirements. Providing of vendor with all project data, access to used platforms and systems, clarifying copyright rules and reporting requirements. Now I will speak more detailed about every step. Before looking for a vendor, you should specify your expectation. I mean, you should plan the future working process and define the testing needs. Prepare answers to the following questions. First question is what development process and stages are planned? Next question is what development methodology will be applied? What resources do you have and what ones are required for proper testing? What is the project budget? What is the scope of required work? What team size do you expect? How many man-hours are necessary to conduct the work? What business model is more suitable for you? What testing type do you need? One-time or long-term testing? When do you want to have testing implemented? Will it be pre-release or post-release testing? Or do you want to have testing integrated into development activities. Will a dedicated team be a part of your internal QA team? Having prepared the answers, you will clearly see the general picture and know for sure what you expect from a testing vendor. Only after planning you can proceed to the second step, vendor searching. Actually, it's rather difficult to find the proper vendors, as nowadays there are a lot of testing providers that are open for new tasks. There are large and small companies that work according to different business models. The choice depends on projects during testing purpose and available budget. Of course, you will not cooperate with the gains of testing makers for a short-term project with a limited budget. It's rather simple to choose a vendor based on recommendations from people you trust. In such a case, you can be sure of team's competence and effectiveness uh, of future cooperation. Using ranks rate lists of testing providers prepared by uh, authoritative resources, you can find a required vendor. For example, you can use cloud ratings. Also, freelance marketplace such as Upwork may help you too. Use the internet to search for more testing providers and verify their reputation and read their customers' feedback. Check whether this services cost fits your budget. Check whether companies have experience in testing solutions for your industry. That can be online store, or game or banking application, web portal, and so on. Mind the vendor's location and time zone to settle productive workflow. Shortlist several vendors to have opportunity to select the most suitable one. The choice can be made on the basis of performance test assignment. That can be an element of accept of your solution that a test provider should check. The assignment should always have a time limit. When the task is done by potential vendors, you can compare the result and choose the best one. While checking the conduct task, mind the following accepts. First of all, its number of defects issues. Whether all open bugs are really errors. Quality of bug reports. Where the all bugs attributes, for example, screenshots, video records, are attached. Are priority and seriority defined properly? Presence of recommendations for improvement, for example, for usability, functionality, or performance. This shows the professionalism of QA team. Number of asked questions, where the QA team put questions all the time of only clarifying unclear things. and quality of communication, whether you speak to the same or different languages, whether the vendor is able to communicate well if your language and be able to ensure smooth information sharing. Based on the results and your personal impressions, you make a decision which provider to choose for quality verification. But remember that you should select the vendors within 2 weeks maximum and start to prepare a test environment. And decent collaboration requires certain preparation activities to be effective. You should prepare data for dedicated team to start the work quickly. Provide a team with available project documentation. That can be, first of all, specification, requirements, market and target users analysis, release notes and updates, test cases, test plan, bug reports is available. Access to bug tracking system, for example, Jira, Redmine, task management system, and messengers. Provide a list of devices, OS, browsers, hardware configuration that testing should cover. Define the contact person responsible for coordinating the work with the remote team. This person should know well the product and stage of workflow to be able to answer testers' questions. Technical specialist, developer, project manager, and QA team lead should be introduced to each other and share their contacts. If a customer wants, he or she can communicate with every QA team member if the team is not large. But generally, a QA team lead is a contact person from vendor's side. From the very beginning of the project, a general meeting of all project team members should be holden to discuss all process, define priorities of testing, expect results, define areas of responsibility, assign tasks, specify of procedure of bug fixing and regression, set daily processes, including meetings and reports and requirement to them. Specify that should be prepared for meetings and in what form. The introductory meeting is a very important step that will define the effective of collaboration in future. It's better to spend some time at the start for informing remote team and specify all details. Then to spend much more time on reworking and making correction all the time. In order to ensure effective cooperation, communication with the whole project team should be well established and constant. It may seem that in case of distance collaboration, you can face difficulties in controlling the work of remote team. But daily and weekly reports will help to solve this problem. Besides, you can ask for feedback on QA team management, work effectiveness, and other aspects. Share information and source to avoid misunderstandings. Also, remote QA teams should be integrated in the development process. To have data protected, sites can sign NDA. If developers have a separate chat where discuss plans for future activities, then QA specialists may miss important data and don't have a clear vision of work scope. For example, the whole day testers were checking a certain system built without knowing that a new one with fixed issue was ready. This caused some washing. Always share the updates with all project team members. A quick and effective start of collaboration with dedicated QA team is possible if you establish the process in a good way and enable data sharing on a regular basis. You will see that distance collaboration does not cause any difficulties but exists in improving software quality due to fresh and objective assessment. So that's all information for me. I noticed some questions during the webinar and we still have a couple of minutes to answer these questions. The first question was how quickly can team start working if all documentation is ready? Maybe it depends on the complexity of the project. If it's a simple project, you can start in one day, enough to understand the project, the problems, the project, and begin to run. If this is a complex project, you need to allocate a few days to study the project, study documentation, and adapt the team. Next question is, if I need a team of 20 people, how is it better to start? It's hard question. In this case, it's very important to structure all the information. Divide the whole process into small part and assign the responsible people. Each member of the team should have his isolated piece of work. Appoint as responsible people who will join to work all participants. It's important to plan the intermediate stage in order to check the results and trust. Maybe that's all. Okay, questions at the end. Have a nice time. Bye bye.